Hi everyone, welcome back to the Kia Hyundai channel. My name is Gabi. I'm a salesperson at Brantford Kia, and today I have a 23 Sportage LX all-wheel drive and a 2023 Seltos LX all-wheel drive. Now both of these vehicles are the base model level for both vehicle, but with the all-wheel drive package. So with that, you have all the features that are in the LX front-wheel drive for both cars, plus all-wheel drive. So we're going to go into what makes these cars different. It was a vehicle that was often cross-shopped when the Sportage had its old body style because they were so similar in size. But now the price point is quite close, but it's a big change in the newly redesigned Sportage. So we'll go into both of them, compare sizes, features, and specs. I'm going to start off with the 23 Seltos. So over here we have a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. This one is an MPI. And then you also have an IVT transmission. So that's a form of a continuously variable transmission, a CVT most people call it. Very fuel efficient, ties well with the all-wheel drive to give you a decent all-wheel drive vehicle. It's pretty good on gas. And then if we go to the Sportage, we have a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder GDI engine with an 8-speed automatic transmission. Now this is still quite good on fuel. I'm going to list the MSRP as well as the fuel specs for both of these cars in the text somewhere at the bottom of this video right now. Give it a second. There we go. So now we'll compare the styling elements to both cars, starting with the Seltos. So over here you have a lot of chromish satin finish. So a lot of metals tied in with blacks, very sharp headlights as well too. No fog lights on the LX model. And we'll come around to this side and I'll show you the wheels. So both these vehicles have 17-inch alloys. On this vehicle in particular, the Seltos, you'll have a dark gray, so almost a graphite color. Black wheel wells, an all-wheel drive badge. So on the vehicle, or on the trim line below, you won't have the all-wheel drive badge. And you'll have smaller wheels as well too. Side markers on your mirrors, so for your turn signals right over there. This color is called Gravity Gray, so it's our darker gray color. We also have a steel gray, which is lighter, more like a silver. Wheels in the back. Then we'll get into trunk space. So with this seat folded up, you do have a good amount of trunk space for a smaller size SUV, a subcompact SUV, but under here you have more room and a real spare tire. So a lot of vehicles in this size class do not come with a spare tire. This is a big deal. And if I bring this down, the floorboard, you will also get a little bit more room. There we go. So that adds a little bit more headroom or space vertically. And then if you were to fold down the rear seats, you'll also have tons more room as well too. It goes pretty flush with the bottom of the vehicle if you have the floorboard up on the higher level that was originally showed. Coming around, fuel cap on the left side of the vehicle, and then rear seats. So I'll also take a seat in there to show you what it looks like with a 5'4" person sitting back there. So for me, I have really good headroom. The seat is reclined a little bit, so you can have it a little straighter if you like to sit more upright. Leg room, I have tons of room, pretty comfy. And even in the center seat, you can see that the floor isn't too elevated, so I'm not uncomfortable. My legs aren't up to my chest, and I can sit comfortably, and it's a comfy vehicle. Back here, you got your speakers, you got your window controls, no USB ports in the Seltos, but a very, very comfy cabin. And I'll come on out and we'll show you the front of the vehicle. So now we are inside the Seltos LX all-wheel drive. I'm going to show you the cabin, what you get in this trim line, and what's different on the trim above and what's different in the Sportage. Starting off with by my left knee. So I'm going to grab the camera from Charlotte and I will show you. On the left side here, you have your brightness controls. So that's just that button over there. Then you have auto stop and start. So I'll just get it to focus really quickly. Okay, I guess it's not going to focus. So what that does is when you are stopped in traffic or just on the road, it'll turn off your engine but keep your media and everything going. Now we'll only do this if the weather permits. So if it's a snowstorm and you want your heat on, it won't do that. And then in the center over here, we have your cluster. So here I have the speed projected, as well as you can cycle between your different menus, so what drive mode you're in, your instant fuel economy. It looks a little bad because we were idling, your accumulated trip info, and so on. You can also cycle to your all-wheel drive torque distribution menu, as well as your tire pressure. But for that, we're just gonna have to drive to display it. Then over here, you can change your settings for your door, your lights, convenience, etc. Also your service interval. You can reset it all to factory settings if you messed it up. And then back to speed, which is my personal favorite. I'll hand the camera back to Charlotte, and we will go on into the steering wheel controls. So on the left side, you have your Bluetooth and media controls. So the talk button over here looks like a little face with voice lines. That is going to do your hands-free kind of, I guess you do need to use your hands, but your Bluetooth calling. So you can press that and say, call Charlotte, or whatever contact you're trying to reach. Mode will cycle between your different media modes. So whether it's AM radio, FM radio, Sirius XM, etc. Over here, you'll have your volume controls. You can increase, decrease, or mute the volume for whatever channel you're listening to. This button's to answer phone calls, and this one's to decline them. And then with these two knobs here, you can either seek or retract next song, next station, for whatever media you're listening to. On this side, you have more driving controls. So here, you can cycle between your different menus. That's what I was doing earlier. So it'll just go between displaying your drive settings or service intervals, all of that. Over here, you can adjust. So you can move up or down. OK is to select a setting if I was in the setting menu. Cruise is to turn on your cruise control, and you can increase, decrease your speed, and reset it. And then cancel is to turn off your cruise control. Over here, you'll have all of your wiper controls. So this does have a rear wiper. It is hidden. So you can turn it on, off, whatever you need, and then for your front wipers, of course. On your main setting or menu here, you'll have an 8-inch touch screen, and this does Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly. So you don't need a cord for this, which is great because if you have someone else in your vehicle that needs to use your cord to charge their phone, they still can. You don't have to use up yours. And for that, you can set it up as you would to set up your Bluetooth. So we're not going to do it in this video, but we have done a video with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that we will link in the description below. Here you have real buttons that you can go to your radio menu, your media menu, and your star. So that you can set as your favorite button to get you to whatever kind of setting or station you use the most in one button. Seek and track, of course, to seek and track what station you are, and set up to take you to your vehicle's setup menus. So you can add more Bluetooth devices, look at the sound settings, display settings, whatever you need. And then your tune knob and your volume knob. And then power just to turn everything off if you don't want any media at all. Over here you have your AC controls, so actual temperature control, and then fan control in the center, and then directional control on the right. AC button you can turn on. Right now the fan's off, so it'll be off. And then for your rear window defrost. Over here in the higher trim lines, you'll have a wireless phone charger, but on this trim, it's just a regular shelf. Then down here, you'll have a USB in the center, a 12-volt on the left, and then a phone charger USB on the right side. Okay. So moving down here, we have our drive mode dial. So this you can trigger while you're driving or even parked. Basically, you just turn it to the left or the right, and it'll cycle between 3 different drive modes. We have normal, smart, and sport. We have done a video explaining what drive modes are, how they work, and what they do for your vehicle. Basically, I would say the best one, in my opinion, to use is smart because it adapts to whatever you're doing. If you're on the highway and you're not giving it too much gas, you're just kind of coasting, it's going to be the most efficient. But if you are getting onto the highway and you need power, it's not going to feel sluggish. So it really changes to what you're doing with the vehicle. Down here, you have your heated seat controls. So for driver and passenger, you have 3 different levels. Your all-wheel drive lock to put it in a 50-50 split, and your downhill assist. Over here you have a real parking brake, so pull up and they'll trigger. Your 2 cup holders here, and a little bit of storage in your center console. So it is pretty deep, not too wide, but you do have a good amount of space there. And I'll close that up. Charlotte, if you want to open your glove box and show the glove box, see what kind of space we're working with there. So right now we have all our what are those called? Manuals. So we have an English and a French, lots of literature, but there is a good amount of space in there too. So for your ownership or whatever kind of documents you carry with you when you are driving. That about sums it up for the Kia Seltos. Before we exit the vehicle, I'm going to show you or talk about certain features that are in here that I can't really show you. So on your mirrors, you do have a little icon, looks like a car kind of. It's off right now, so you won't see it. But if there is a vehicle in your blind spot, that will light up almost an amber orangey color. And what that does is, if you were to turn your turn signal on to the right side and there was a car in your blind spot on the right side, it'll give you an alert that, hey, there's a car there, and it'll warn you before you change lanes, just to avoid a collision, right? That also works if you're reversing out of a space. So if I was in the mall or wherever I may be, and there's two vehicles beside me, it's pretty hard to see if there's someone walking behind us. So not only will you have your pretty big backup camera to show you, it'll also alert that there's someone coming from that side. That's called rear cross traffic alert, and it's on a lot of Kia vehicles. But interestingly enough, it's not on the Sportage LX all-wheel drive. So it's on the Seltos though. Now we'll move over to the LX and see what's in there that's not in here, compare them both. Okay, so now we're gonna do the exact same thing with the 2023 Sportage LX all-wheel drive. So starting off on the front grille, you got your new Kia logo as well. Lots of blacks, lots of darks, and a little bit of lights as well too. If we look down here, it's just your paint color really. So over here, this bright dash is an LED. Your daytime running lights and your positioning lights are LEDs on the Sportage. Coming around to the side, I'll show you the wheels. So these are 17-inch machine finished alloys, but these ones, instead of being a solid color like the Seltos, you got a mix of aluminum finish and blacks as well too. So very sleek look. Black along your wheels as well too here. You don't have turn signal mirror or mirror turn signal repeater lights. And then around here, a little bit of aluminum finish there as well too, so add some nice contrast to the car. This vehicle is shown in snow white pearl, so you can't tell in the video bay, but if you were to shine light on it or if it was outside in the sunlight, there's a lot of definition and sparkle in this paint. I really like it. It's what's on my personal vehicle. Back here, you have your all-wheel drive badge. So the Sportage all-wheel drive badge is a little bit different. It just says 4X here. And that's in a black and brushed aluminum look, as well as your Kia logo and your Sportage logo on the very rear here. I'm gonna open this up and show you trunk space. So, I think I mentioned this earlier in the video, but a lot of people used to, sorry, it's dripping. A lot of people used to cross-shop the Seltos and the Sportage because they were very similar in size for the old body style Sportage. And the Seltos took a lot of the sales just because it was cheaper and it wasn't that much smaller. Now, you got a really big size difference and a pretty good feature difference, so it makes that competition a little harder. I'm gonna open up everything over here, ignore the mats. It's gonna be really dark, so you might not be able to see how much space we're really talking about. So why don't I sit in there, back to the backs of the seats. Okay, my back is flat against the backrest of the seats, and they are still reclined a little bit. So if they were straight up, I could probably almost fully close this with my legs fully extended. So there's a lot of space back here, a lot. Big difference from the old Sportage body style. And then I'll show you underneath. You have a real spare tire again. And much like the Seltos, this floorboard does drop down, so to give you an extra 2 inches of space. All right, and then over here, we've shown it in a couple of our other videos, but if you pull this, it will drop down your seats. I'm not gonna drop it down now because we're gonna go sit in those seats. And I'll close this up. For this vehicle, you don't see the rear wiper, not because it doesn't have it, because it's hidden underneath the spoiler. So we've done a video on how to access that as well too. We've done all those videos. And now, I'll show you this accent as well too. So it's a little dirty, don't look too close. But it is another brushed satin aluminum finish. And I'll show you the seating there. So cloth seats again, they recline, they go upwards. I'm gonna take a seat back here so you can see what kind of leg room I experience. So this vehicle is a bit wider than the Seltos. So I feel more like there's more vehicle around me for sure. And then more leg room as well too, so it is a longer vehicle. So, and also height-wise. So I do have more room all around me for the most part. Back here, you've got nice deep side pockets. They're not nets like some of our vehicles do have. And then on the side of the door, you have almost, it's not a carbon fiber, but it kind of reminds me of it, and it is textured, so it's not just a solid flat material. So it does add some more design elements in the back seats of the Sportage. Another thing to note is it does have rear vents back here as well too. So your rear passengers will definitely appreciate the fact that they get AC and heat as well too, and a little phone pocket too. So before I have Charlotte come around and go into the passenger seat, I'm going to show you what's on my left side in the driver's seat. So your brightness controls as well too, your traction control, and then this is your parking brake. So it's an electronic parking brake that you can trigger by pulling or pushing there. Another thing that this adds is the auto hold feature. So I've spoken about it in a couple of our other videos. Basically what it does is if it's on and you fully depress your brake pedal, it'll hold you at a stop until you hit the gas to release it. I really, really like it for drive-thrus because you can just hang out for a bit. You can take your foot off the brake and your car is held at a stop. I use it every day. Not that I go to the drive-thru every day. What? And then over here you have your mirror controls and your window controls, just like any standard vehicle. And then the, not carbon fiber, but almost like it, design elements are translated to the front of the vehicle as well too, and these really cool door handles. So now that we got that covered, Charlotte, if you want to join me in the front. Okay. Now we're in the front seat of the Sportage LX, and we're going to do the same thing we did in the Seltos. So starting with the steering wheel, I'll show you on the left side here, you have a lot of the same buttons that were in the Seltos. So this talk button where you can say call whatever contact you want to call. Volume controls, tune, and change your channel control. Over here you have your phone answering button, so your accept button. This can be whatever you want it to be, so it's another favorite button. You can set that to be your favorite media mode, so go straight to Bluetooth audio, straight to wherever. Another thing on here is you have your lane follow assist button. So right over here, a feature that wasn't in the Seltos. What this does is it monitors the lane ahead of you and will actually steer the vehicle for you. I really like it on the highway. It works great with cruise control. You also have forward collision avoidance on this vehicle, something that you'd have to move up a trim line in the Seltos. So with that, it'll monitor the distance of the vehicle ahead of you and will slow you down if you have your cruise control on. And it'll also help avoid a collision. Now, definitely don't try it yourself, but if a vehicle were to slam on the brakes in front of you or cut you off very last minute and you fail to react, you fail to slow down, it'll warn you first, and then it will take action and apply the brakes for you. It's pretty scary. I have felt it happen before. It works. So then over here you have your pause for the cruise control and then increase, decrease your speed. Wiper controls, just like the Seltos, so that's all the same layout. Another thing that's different is your dash. So you see it's not fully digital, but everything on the side here, you can't control yourself with the menus, but they do adjust digitally. So your RPMs, your tachometer, your speedometer, everything is digital there. And then this center section here, you can change. So right now it shows that the rear door is open. We forgot to close it. But you can have your lane keep assist menu show. You can have your drive info, your speed, everything just like you could in the Seltos. And this is the section where you can actually adjust and play around with. On the center screen here, you still have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So what that means is you can use your USB for other things like your passenger charging the phone or your passenger playing music. Over here you have a USB-C, so it just charges your phone much faster than a regular USB, and you also have a 12 volts. Then another thing over here, I didn't show it on the Seltos, but it's exactly the same. This is what your backup camera looks like. So it's very, very clear. If I were to move my steering wheel to the left or the right, the lines would adjust as needed. I can't show you that right now because I don't want to turn on the engine, but trust me, it works. And then we'll move down onto here. Sorry, we're all over the place here. But these are your climate control settings. So fan speed, temperature, and then directions are all in the center over here. Coming down here, your gear shift is a lever. You have heated seats for both driver and passenger. Your drive mode select is a little bit different, and now you also have terrain modes. So for your drive modes, I'll have Charlotte focus over to the cluster. You have normal, sport, and smart, just like in the Seltos, and the same thing applies. Smart is just going to adapt to what you're doing. But if I push this button down, it'll go into terrain, and you have snow, mud, and sand. So that'll change your all-wheel drive torque distribution, help you out if you're in those conditions. Focusing back down here, you have your auto hold button like I spoke about earlier, so that just holds you at a brake when you have your foot fully depressed on the brake pedal. You have auto stop and start, so that just turns your engine off in the event of hitting the brake all the way, and then in the event of a stop. And then right here you have your downhill assist as well too, and your parking camera. So if you ever just want to look at your camera while you're stopped, you press that and it'll show your backup camera. It's pretty cool. Over here you have a different layout for your cup holders, so there is more storage space in here. You can move these to go back if you have something else to put in here that's not a cup, if you have a tablet or something. But if you do have cups, press that and your holder will come right back out. And then you have your center console right over here. So very similar size to the Seltos for your center console. It's pretty deep and a good size center console. I'll let Charlotte open up the glove box and you can see the design channels in through there too. So it looks really nice because it goes all through your dash and then into the door. And then more space in your glove box. You got tons of manuals as well too. So every time you purchase a vehicle with Brantford Kia, you get free manuals, French and English, for all you readers out there. And then on your side, I'll have Charlotte show you, you got your lock and unlock, your window controls, and then your really snazzy door handles again. That pretty much sums up our walk around for the interiors of both vehicles as well as the feature overview. Like I said, I will include the specs for the engine, transmission, everything in the text because it's definitely a mouthful when we say it at the beginning of this video. And we are a real dealership. I'm a real salesperson and Charlotte is a real F&I gal. So we can help you out. If you have any inquiries about any of these vehicles, definitely let us know. We'll have a link in the bio below where you can reach us. Thank you so much for watching.